Thanks for joining us today. Today we're speaking with Mark Plummer, owner of Chestnut Petroleum. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, thank you, Dave. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Great.
Mark, tell us about Chestnut Petroleum.
Well, Chestnut is an independent oil company. We've been in business since 1994, and we acquire, develop, drill oil and gas wells.
Mark, what is your background? How did you get into the oil business?
I'm a chemical engineer by degree from the University of Texas in Austin, and then I worked for Sun Oil for 13 years, and then I started my own independent company in 1994.
How did that company get started?
Well, at the time in the oil business, I quit my job, I took a small amount of money, and I bought an oil field from Sun Oil in Texaco.
How did that field work out for you?
It was fantastic. The beginning was a little bit slow, but after I had the company about 6 months, I worked on one well. That well came in 25 barrels of oil a day, and we'd never looked back.
Does Chestnut Petroleum do only U.S. or is it do international as well?
Currently, we're only in the U.S.
And what is the theory behind Chestnut Petroleum going forward?
Well, what we'd like to do so far in our history is acquire older fields, rework them with new technology like 3D seismic, sound engineering, new geophysics, new geology, and try to get more oil out of older fields that are currently in the U.S.
As a medium-sized firm, is it easy to find those types of fields?
Well, no, it takes a process. It's not easy to find, but if you've been in the business 25 years, you can find plenty of older assets to re-engineer, to make money from, and to produce more oil for the United States.
Where do you see prices going forward?
You know, I see prices staying above $100 a barrel because of the weak dollar against the euro and the British pound, because oil is an international commodity, but priced in U.S. dollars.
Does Chestnut also look for natural gas fields?
We produce about 50-50. We're about half oil and half natural gas. Natural gas is a U.S. commodity, and the U.S. needs more clean-burning natural gas for our industry.
Where do you see the price of natural gas going as well for it?
Right now, the natural gas prices are about $8 per MCF, which is a unit of measure to sell natural gas. It's fluctuated. Early in my career, when I was an independent, in 1994, it was about $2 an MCF. We've seen prices as high as $15. I think over the next 10 to 20 years, prices are going to be above $10 an MCF, in the range of $10 to $20 an MCF.
How do you see alternative fuels having an impact on the oil and gas market?
Well, as an engineer, I'm all for conservation and alternate fuels. But in my calculations, alternate fuels cannot compete against oil because it's so easy to produce and transport till the price gets to about $180 a barrel.
Where do you see Chestnut going forward?
Well, we've been growing at about a rate of about 80% per year, and we plan on continuing that growth pattern and actually stepping that up.
Where are the major fields that Chestnut holds?
We operate in southern Louisiana, which is one of the major oil-producing areas in the United States, East Texas, and then we also own interest in the Long Beach, California area.
Mark, do you see that the U.S. will be able to produce oil and natural gas for years to come?
Absolutely. Currently, the U.S. produces slightly over 5 million barrels a day. The problem that we have as a country is that we consume 20 million barrels a day. Now, many people are not aware that the U.S. was like Saudi Arabia to the world up to about 1955. From 1900 to 1955, we produced more oil than we needed, refined it, distilled it, sold it to other countries, and then eventually we used up our supplies, and we now have to import 15 million barrels a day from other countries. Now, we need to, as a country, try to find more oil and gas reserves and production in our own borders.
Lately, there's been a lot of talk about offshore drilling. How do you feel that will impact the oil and gas market if that does go forward?
Well, for Sun Oil, I worked as an offshore engineer. I used to engineer projects, and then I would actually go offshore and supervise those projects, whether it was drilling a new well or recompleting a well or making some changes on an offshore platform. The offshore area is a great place to explore. It's very expensive, and we have areas that are off limits now. And it's up to the people through the votes, through legislature, to decide where we want to explore, and that's totally up to the people of the United States.
If that does move forward, do you feel that will affect oil and gas prices?
Well, anytime that you can increase supply, that will help bring down prices a little bit. But will it make up the difference of 15 million barrels a day we have to import every day? No, I don't believe so.
Where does Chestnut plan on doing some future projects?
We have many more projects planned in Louisiana and Texas, and we also have our chief geologist, Gary Plasek. He's also exploring new areas for us, and so we have many areas that we plan to grow.
Does Chestnut plan on doing any offshore drilling?
Eventually, yes.
Mark, are there opportunities for investors to invest with your company?
Yes, we work also with both individuals and companies that are not traditionally a part of the oil industry. Now, we do this through our broker-dealer, Chestnut Energy Partners. And there are certain regulations that we have to follow in that because we're a member of FINRA, just like other large stock brokerages, but we only deal in oil and gas. You can find out more information by visiting our website at www.chestnutpetro.com.
Are there various types of programs an investor can get involved in?
Yes, absolutely. We specialize in two different types of programs. Multi-well drilling programs for one type of investor who needs tax breaks with revenue. And then we also do oil and gas acquisition programs of existing oil and gas properties, okay, and those through limited partnership funds.
Are there certain qualifications an investor must meet before they can invest with you?
Yes, what we work with people that are have a status known through the SEC as accredited investors.
Mark, thanks for joining us today.
It's been my pleasure, Dave.
And thank you for joining us today as well.